Niggas can't relate to a nigga named Dakota. But all right, we can get started, bro. So I think we should start with the Chargers game since we did have our no lazy takes correspondent at the game. So Chargers Raiders, Chargers won, I believe, what 22 to
10.
13, 22 to 10.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, pretty convincingly. If you score 22 points and the game kind of wasn't even close in the second half. So kind of what's the biggest takeaway you got coming away from week one Chargers game being a Chargers fan?
Um, I think obviously like the fact that you can kind of see the just the imprint of Jim Harbaugh already like taking effect, just the culture and the identity of the team. Tough, physical, like all those things were on display. Especially on the defensive side of the ball. They did a like I don't remember game where we were so effective at stopping the run. There was a bunch of short yardage situations where third and ones, fourth and ones, where they stuffed runs for no gains and forced the Raiders to punt or turn it over on downs. Um, and then so I thought that was the most significant thing to me is that his kind of the culture and the way that he wants to play football, and how he has played football throughout his coaching career kind of already took effect in week one. And we already um, saw how that translated into, success on the field. Like Justin Herbert, he didn't really have a really good game. Like he game managed well. He didn't turn the ball over. But obviously he threw for like 150 yards or so, only one touchdown. Didn't really drop back a ton. Was under a lot of pressure, and there wasn't really many plays that were down the field outside of maybe like one pass I remember to Hayden Hurst down the sideline.
Yeah.
Um, so just seeing like all those things, like typically if you would have told us in the past that Justin Herbert threw for 150 yards, like it's a guaranteed loss. You know what I mean? So um, it's nice to see that like the Chargers have the ability to hopefully moving forward, have multiple formulas to winning football games. And that to me is a sign that this could be, um, a team that can be competitive throughout the rest of the season. Hopefully the offense comes along, because it was really shaking the first half for sure. But definitely like good to see that the culture is already kind of taking form, and that you see that the buy-in from the players, and it translated particularly in the second half when they were down at half and they were able to make them adjustments, on the offensive side of the ball and the defensive side of the ball, and kind of take over that game and physically impose themselves on the Raiders team that kind of wants to have that similar mold of being a physical team and not get bullied and stuff. But in that fourth quarter, the Chargers kind of bullied them. Like they ran the ball down their throats. Um, and then they even got in that little tussle with Josh Palmer, I think, started it. And then you even
Yeah.
seen
He he was putting in
QJ's turtleneck wearing ass even got in the fold
yeah.
and threw himself in there. So it's good
Very
to
Harbaugh
see
like.
that.
No,
Very
Mhm.
yeah. That's it was good to see at week one. The big like you said, I agree with a lot of the takeaways that you had from being at it, seeing it, feeling it live. The biggest takeaway is well, one of the big takeaways is that the Chargers have an identity. And like you said, that comes from Harbaugh. This is going to be a tough team. So, like you said, in the first half, we were kind of getting stuffed with the run. Nothing really too spectacular on offense to take away from. But you see, in the second half, we stuck with it. And as the game went, the Chargers got stronger. It's almost like we were the more conditioned team, we were the
Mhm.
stronger team, and we stuck to what we set out to do with the initial game plan. So that was pretty refreshing to see because and you could just attest that to Jim Harbaugh. It's like, listen, I know it's not working, but we're a team built to run the football, play hard on defense, and we're gonna win games that way. There's no ifs, ands, or but. I don't give a fuck if we get get stopped on third down and short in the first half two times. That doesn't matter. We're here to run the ball down your throats in the third and fourth quarter, like they did with J.K. Dobbins. And then and then another thing that you said with if you would have told us at the last year this time that Justin Herbert threw for 150 yards, yeah, it's like, did he get hurt? Like you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Yeah, it's like, did he get hurt in the first half, and how much did we lose by? But but that almost kind of even with the lack of weapons, it's the style of play is going to take a lot of pressure off of him to have to be Superman for us to be competitive. Because I was watching this game and I was like, oh my God, because this is nip tuck first half. No one's really pulling away. With Brandon Staley as the coach, the Chargers lose this game.
Very
100%.
possible. Yeah, it's very
Yeah,
possible.
very possible. But with Jim Harbaugh in the second half, there really wasn't a doubt past the third quarter where it was kind of, all right, we're the better team here. And we have the better quarterback, which is pretty much what it came down to. And you look at what Patrick Mahomes has turned into is a game manager. Yes, he can still do the awesome stuff every now and then, but the way that they won the Super Bowl last year, he was just he learned how to win football games, and it's not by running around throwing behind the back passes every drive. It's by doing whatever it's called to win the game. So I feel like that's going to be the next step in Justin Herbert actually becoming a winner. And then also what this team is going to look like under Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh should give all Chargers fans hopes.
Yeah. And I think we had to give a shout out to rookie Joe Alt. Man, he performed well in that opener, especially considering that your first test, your first taste of NFL action, you're facing one of the premier guys on the edge that we've seen in the last couple of years in Max Crosby. And I seen that, in the pass blocking snaps that Joe Alt had against Max Crosby didn't generate a single pressure. And so that in itself is just very impressive to me. And I wouldn't have been surprised if he would have struggled against Max Crosby. Like if you would have told me he gave up a few pressures, gave up a sack or two, like I wouldn't have panicked and said, "Oh man, like he sucks." Like Max Crosby is amazing. He's one of the best players that we have in the National Football League, and for him to hold his own and in a lot of cases win those one-on-one matchups, I think just bodes well moving forward. Obviously, you already have a premier left tackle in Rashawn Slater, and obviously he's going to do his thing, and he played well too in the opener. So um, that's a major sign to me. Obviously, you touched on the receivers, and I think that's going to be the developing story that we're going to have to continue to monitor because I think that's going to be continue to be the biggest question for this team is um, who's going to be able to win on one-on-one matchups on the outside, who's going to be able to get open on a consistent basis. Um, like I noticed a lot of third and downs and even early downs, the Raiders were being that extra safety down to the line of scrimmage or 5 to 10 yards from the line of scrimmage. They're playing single high. They're kind of playing press coverage. They're kind of pretty much daring those receivers to win on the outside and to challenge their DBs and their safeties. And so we'll see how that kind of develops over the course of the season. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think that question didn't really get answered in this game, and that's still the biggest concern because outside of the few plays here and there, like the lad play at the end of the game when he caught that shallow cross and juked two guys for the touchdown, and then QJ getting a few shallow crosses, and then maybe like Palmer getting like 1/3 and 9 conversion that I can remember on the out route.
Yeah,
Um,
little Toledo route on the outside.
yeah, so other than that, like there wasn't really many open windows. There wasn't guys running free. There wasn't guys creating a ton of separation. There wasn't guys putting stress on the defense. And so I think, that's going to be something to monitor, especially when you start to play tougher teams you're going to have to put up some points. Like 22 isn't going to win you every game in the NFL. There's going to be times when you're going to be playing more elite offenses, obviously teams that don't have Gardner Minshew at quarterback, that you're going to have to be able to keep up with some of these higher octane offenses. So, we'll see how that develops over the course of the season.
Right. 100% agree. Yeah. That's also one of the takeaways from this game is that the Chargers offense does lack juice, quote unquote. Like you said, someone to create separation in one on one. We'll see just how good Lad is. We'll see just how much QJ develops this year. I mean, it kind of looks like this is just what he is at this point. Like he can catch a drag and then get a little bit of yards after catch, but as far as like creating separation downfield, running by people, that just doesn't seem to really be his game. So we do got DJ Shark is on the IR, correct?
Yep.
So he can come back at the earliest 4 weeks from now, and
Yep.
he's known as a NFL deep threat. I guess you can say he's
Yeah,
probably
I mean,
the
he was supposed to be like our X receiver, kind of that guy that plays on the outside. They was that at least that's what he was penciled in as. But
yeah
now they're gonna have to kind of go with Palmer
yeah
and QJ as the X's for now.
yeah as an X yeah. So we're gonna kind of see. Hopefully, like I said, we got a good break with playing the Panthers next week. That should be a automatic dub. So this style of play should be able to beat about 75% of the teams, other than teams who have elite quarterbacks. Then we're gonna try to have to really push our offense. But like I said, man, this watching this game, just watching the level of competence on from our coaching staff on both sides of the ball, where it was like every decision made was not a decision that made you like scratch your head. There wasn't any bullshit penalties that the Chargers usually get in the worst moments, where there'd be like a false start at the wrong time, a personal foul at the wrong times, just personnel issues. There's nothing that made you say same old Chargers. And and then I had a thought. I was like, damn, this nigga Jim Harbaugh is gonna make me cry one day. Because I was looking at this team and I was like, okay, like this is the guy. Under this man, we could win a Super Bowl one day. And I know damn well there's a lot of at being a Chargers fan, Keat, you know how this is. We ain't never won a Super Bowl. We've gotten close a couple times. And I don't know if you've even thought about it just because of the level of bullshit that has happened in your career being a Chargers fan. But if the Chargers win a Super Bowl, I'm crying. That's gonna be like
A hundred, a
that's
hundred.
gonna be that's gonna be
As you
like
should.
I'm crying
As you should.
because and I feel like as a Chargers fan, that is the one thing that keeps you being a Chargers fan. It's almost like, nah, I can't hold out on this. I can't sell my Coca-Cola stock. I bought it in 1970. The ship still might get, you know what I mean? So it's just knowing that all this is building up to a moment that's not guaranteed. By no means is a Super Bowl guarantee for any franchise. But you know, if it ever does happen, it's gonna feel better than say if a Steelers won another Super Bowl where they've won six in the
Yeah,
past. And it's kind of like, oh yeah, we supposed to do this. Like half these niggas who Steelers fans is just Steelers fans because they got mad Super Bowls already. Them niggas couldn't
yeah.
even tell you who the quarterback was before Ben Roethlisberger.
Hmm.
So yeah, so it's like yeah. So I found it
I think I think a lot of you guys' wins are gonna be like Steelers wins this year. Just hard fought, just grinded out games, like not high scoring, just in the trenches defensive, which is new for the Chargers. Not really, winning games in the trenches like that. But
that
yeah, I
that
see that happening a lot.
that is a great point because the Steelers, you look back at just about every Steelers season, especially what their subpar quarterback play in the past, and then you look at their schedule and you'd be like, look at their team with the talent they have on offense, which has been kind of none. And you'd be like, how the hell did they go in and beat the Rams week 5 in Los Angeles? How did they win this game? How did they win that? How did they shouldn't have even won the game in Atlanta? Like, so you see, they be winning games they have no business doing just solely based off their identity and toughness.
That year they went undefeated for the first like
Oh
what
no, no, they were
12
terrible. That was a
12 games of
terrible
the
team.
season. They were
Yeah,
terrible.
yeah, yeah,
That
yeah,
was
yeah.
the fakest 10-0 team ever.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know,
that was a terrible
and look
team.
at look at the
I understand
schedule.
what you're saying though.
Same thing can happen to you guys. Panthers next week. Like y'all could start out this season pretty hot and
No,
not
no,
really
no.
good.
Absolutely. And then I was like, okay, this team can make the playoffs with this identity. If as long as Justin Herbert stays healthy, we can compete with anybody.